You who read these words now, it is not by chance that our paths cross at this exact cosmic moment. Feel. Breathe deeply. Allow these words to touch not just your mind, but to reverberate in every cell of your being. You were tested by fire, and the angels hid this from you. Pause for an instant. Feel the heat that rises through your spine now. This is not common heat. It is recognition, the ancestral memory that awakens. If you feel you never fit in this world, perhaps it's because you were chosen for something greater. Activate the bell, subscribe, and prepare yourself. This message is only for the chosen ones. Chosen one, you who were tested in the most intense flames of existence, know that you did not survive by luck or coincidence. You survived because the heavens bet everything on you. While you shed tears in the solitude of night, while your heart was broken into 1,000 pieces, while the weight of the world seemed to crush your shoulders, the angels watched, in silence, with a sealed divine order. Do not intervene yet. The fire needs to purify. The gold needs to be separated from the impurities. Feel now the pressure in your chest, that tightness, that sensation. It is the confirmation of what your soul has always known. You were not placed in fire to be destroyed. You were placed to be revealed. Revealed to yourself first, and then revealed to the kingdom. Awakened soul, do you notice the chill that runs through your arms at this moment? It is truth resonating in every fiber of your being. The deepest secret that the celestial realms kept is this: they hid the divine plan from you purposefully, because the one who sees the complete map of the journey can become complacent. But the one who walks in darkness without guarantees and still keeps faith burning, this one is truly worthy of the spiritual crown. Child of light, how many times did you feel that everything was a test, but no one offered the answers? How many times did you beg for a sign, for clear direction, and the universe seemed to respond only with silence? Now you will understand, the wounds you carry are not punishments, they are medals. They are proof of your divine origin. Breathe again. Feel the air entering through your nostrils, filling your lungs. Do you notice how your body responds differently to these words? As if each cell recognized a truth that your conscious mind might still resist. Ancient spirit, the battles you faced were not accidents on the path. They were carefully selected to awaken dormant potentials within you. The universe does not send its strongest warriors to easy battles, and you, who read these words now, were selected for missions that few could endure. Have you felt the change in time perception recently? Days that seem like hours, weeks that fly like minutes? It is the dimensional transition happening in your energetic field. Your system is recalibrating to exist beyond the linearity of the third dimension. That inexplicable thirst you feel, even after drinking enough water, is not physical thirst. It is thirst for truth. It is your soul recognizing that it is time to drink directly from the divine source. The vivid dreams that wake you in the middle of the night, the messages that seem to make no logical sense but touch your heart deeply, are direct communications. Your subconscious is receiving downloads that your conscious mind is still learning to interpret. You who were tested by fire, do you notice the numbers that repeat in your life? 444. When you look at the clock, 707 on license plates, 999 on tickets. Receipts, documents, they are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The universe is whispering, we are here, you are not alone, continue. Feel now the pulsation at different points in your body. Perhaps in the temples, perhaps in the center of your forehead, perhaps in your chest. These pulsations are activations. Your light body is awakening. Hell tried to consume you, but all it accomplished was forging you. What seemed like destruction was actually reconstruction. What seemed like abandonment was, in truth, the invitation to discover your own inner divine strength. You who read these words, have you noticed how some relationships in your life began to dissolve naturally? How certain people who were once close now seem distant, as if they spoke a different language from yours? It is not loss. It is vibrational realignment. When a being begins to elevate their frequency, not everyone around can accompany this change. And this is not a punishment for them or for you. It is simply the cosmic law of resonance. Like attracts like. And your vibration is changing rapidly. Chosen one, have you felt a growing need for silence, to distance yourself from noisy places, from superficial conversations, from charged environments? This is not negative isolation. It is your sensitive system asking for space to integrate the new frequencies that are arriving. The transition from the third to the fifth dimension is not just an external change, it is a complete transformation in how you perceive reality. In the third dimension, fear is the common currency. Control is valued above all. Separation seems real and definitive. But in the fifth dimension, awakened soul, love is the only recognized currency. Surrender replaces control. Union is the fundamental truth that sustains all experiences. Feel now that warmth that begins at the base of your spine and slowly rises. This is not a common sensation. It is Kundalini energy awakening, opening its way through your energetic centers, clearing blockages accumulated through time. You who survived the fire trials, have you noticed how your intuition is sharper? How you know things without knowing how you know? How sometimes words come out of your mouth and you surprise yourself with the wisdom they carry? It is not coincidence. It is your intuitive channel opening. The barriers between you and universal wisdom are dissolving. Ancient spirit, you have been a mirror for the world around you, reflecting back to people their own shadows, their own lights, their own unrecognized truths. And this role is not easy. Many preferred to break the mirror rather than face the reflection. But you remained intact, even when it meant being alone, even when it meant being misunderstood, even when it meant pain. Feel the tingling in your hands at this moment. This energy are the new healing capacities awakening in you. Your energetic field is expanding, preparing to serve in ways you cannot yet imagine. Child of light, the trial by fire you faced, those moments when you thought you wouldn't survive, those nights when pain seemed endless, those periods when you questioned if there was any purpose in all of this, had a sacred objective. The fire did not come to destroy you. It came to burn everything that you are not, to consume illusions, conditionings, false identities, to reveal the diamond that always existed at the center of your being. And the angels hid this from you because the test needed to be authentic. If you knew you were being observed, evaluated, tested, the experience would not be genuine. Your strength would not be truly revealed. Now, breathe deeply once more. Do you feel this expansion in your chest? This sensation of amplitude? It is your heart chakra opening to accommodate more light, more love, more truth. You who read these words, have you noticed how some foods that once satisfied you now seem heavy, misaligned with your body? How your system now asks for lighter, more alive nutrients? It is not just a change in taste, it is your physical body recalibrating to sustain higher frequencies. These synchronicities in your life, those moments when you think of someone and receive a message from that person seconds later, those times when you need an answer and a book falls open exactly to the page that contains that answer, those casual encounters that change the course of your life, are confirmations of the intelligent fabric of the universe responding to your frequency. Awakened soul, have you noticed greater sensitivity to energies? How some places seem to completely drain your vitality, while others revitalize you instantly? How some people seem to nourish your soul just with their presence, while others seem to suck your vital energy? This increased perception is not imagination. It is your refined energetic system, capable of detecting frequencies with a precision that was not possible before. The pain you carried was not in vain. The tears you shed were not wasted. Each drop contained awakening codes, activating ancestral cellular memories within your DNA. Chosen one, have you caught yourself looking at the clock and noticing that hours have passed when they seemed like only minutes, or the opposite, moments that seem to extend infinitely, as if time had paused? These are fluctuations in the temporal field around you. Your consciousness is beginning to perceive that time is not a rigid constant, but a malleable experience. The angels hid from you how important you are, how crucial your role on this earthly plane is. Because if you knew from the beginning the power you carry, there could be two equally harmful possibilities. Either you would be intimidated by the responsibility, or your ego would take the reins before the necessary maturation. So they allowed you to discover gradually, for you to find your strength in the middle of the storm, for you to recognize your value not because someone told you, but because you proved to yourself, repeatedly, that you are capable of rising from the ashes. Feel now this gentle pressure on your forehead, between your eyebrows. It is your third eye pulsing, opening, expanding to perceive beyond the veil of physical reality. Ancient spirit, you are not going crazy when you perceive flashes of light in the corner of your eyes. When you hear whispers that seem to come from nowhere, when you feel loving presences around you, especially in moments of meditation or before sleep, they are the subtle realms becoming perceptible to you. The veil between dimensions is thinner for those who have passed through fire refinement, and you are one of them. You who read these words, have you noticed how some old habits simply no longer resonate with you? How addictions that once seemed impossible to quit now seem distant, like memories? From another life, it is not just willpower, it is energetic transmutation happening at deep cellular levels. Spiritual ascension is not just about elevated mystical experiences, it is also about integrating these higher frequencies into the physical body, into daily life, into relationships, into daily choices. Did you feel that chill going up your neck now? It is confirmation. It is recognition. It is activation. Child of light, you carry marks from other lives, from other journeys, scars from battles that your conscious mind does not remember, but your soul never forgot. And these ancestral memories are being awakened now, bringing talents, gifts, and also challenges that need to be integrated. The fatigue that sometimes dominates you, even when you have slept enough hours, is not common. It is your system processing and integrating elevated frequencies. It is your physical body adapting to an expanded energetic field. Chosen one, you were tested by fire because fire reveals the true nature of all things. Gold does not fear the heat of the furnace because it knows it will emerge even purer, even brighter. And you who survived your own personal furnaces now emerge with a brightness that cannot be dimmed, with a strength that does not come from ego, but from direct connection with the divine source. Breathe deeply and feel. This connection was always there. There was never real separation between you and the divine, only the illusion of separation, created so you could experience the return, the remembrance, the awakening. You who read these words, have you noticed how some music, some sounds, some frequencies now touch you in completely different ways? How certain tones seem to reverberate, not just in your ears, but throughout your entire being. It is your vibrational sensitivity increasing, recognizing the sacred mathematics behind all sound creations. The challenges in your relationships are not punishments, they are invitations to heal ancestral patterns you carry. Not just your own patterns, but collective patterns, entire lineages that await liberation through your inner work. Awakened soul, you have been a point of light in a world that often seems consumed by darkness, and maintaining this light burning. In dense environments is not an easy task. It requires constancy, commitment, daily renewal of your connection with the source. Feel now this weight that seems to dissipate from your shoulders. This lightness that begins to permeate your energetic field. It is the recognition that you do not need to carry the world alone, that there is a greater intelligence operating through you, sustaining each step. The angels hid the divine plan from you because the journey needed to be authentic. Because the merit of the crossing lies in walking without guarantees, only with the internal compass of intuition and the lantern of faith. Ancient spirit, have you caught yourself speaking words that seem to come from a place deeper than your conscious mind, sharing insights that surprise even you? It is your intuitive channel opening, allowing universal wisdom to flow through you. You were not forgotten in moments of pain. You were guarded, protected, observed with a love so immense that your human mind can barely comprehend. And if these words give you chills, if something within you resonates deeply with each line, each pause, each breath between phrases, it is because you are one of them, the chosen ones that heaven prepared in silence, in fire, and in darkness. Child of light, the activation of your light body is not a single event, but a continuous process. Each time you choose love instead of fear, each time you opt for truth instead of denial, each time you act from compassion instead of judgment, your light body expands a little more. You who read these words, have you noticed how some places in nature seem to call you? How certain crystals seem to pulse in your hands? How the light of the sun, moon, stars seems to communicate messages that go beyond words? It is not imagination. It is direct communication between resonant frequencies. The transition from the third to the fifth dimension does not happen in the blink of an eye. It is a journey of integration, of gradual expansion of consciousness. And in the middle of the path, where you are now, there are moments of crystalline clarity interspersed with periods of profound confusion. This is normal. It is part of the process. Chosen one, have you felt as if you were living between two worlds? As if part of you still needed to function in the structures of the old reality, while another part already inhabits completely new frequencies? This sensation of being divided is not fragmentation. It is expansion. You are learning to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, to keep your feet on the ground while your consciousness travels through realms that few can access. Feel now this subtle vibration throughout your energetic field. This is not a common sensation. It is recalibration. It is your energetic system, adjusting to accommodate more light, more consciousness, more truth. Awakened soul, the trials you faced were not just for your own growth, they were preparations. Each challenge overcome not only strengthened your own light, but expanded your capacity to sustain light for others. Because you are not just a being on a journey of awakening. You are a beacon, a reference point, an anchor of elevated frequencies on a transforming planet. The angels hid this from you because the ego would have interfered, because knowing your cosmic importance before the right time could have created distortions in the natural process of your soul's maturation. Ancient spirit, you have been an alchemist without knowing it, transforming pain into wisdom, fear into courage, darkness into light, and this capacity for transmutation is one of the clearest marks of your divine origin. You who read these words, have you noticed how your tolerance for untruths has decreased drastically? How situations you once accepted now seem unbearable? How compromises you once made now seem like violations of your own essence? It is not rebellion. It is alignment. Your vibrational frequency is rising, and everything that does not resonate with this new frequency naturally becomes uncomfortable, even painful to sustain. Feel now this expansion in the center of your chest, this opening, this growing capacity to love beyond the limits you knew before, to forgive what seemed unforgivable, to understand what seemed incomprehensible. Child of light, the evolution of consciousness is not a linear path. There are quantum leaps interspersed with periods of apparent stagnation. There are moments of divine ecstasy, followed by confrontations with the densest shadows, and all of this is part of the ascending spiral of your journey. The fire through which you passed burned illusions, conditionings, false identities. It revealed the diamond that always existed at the center of your being, a diamond that was not created by fire, only revealed by it. Chosen one, have you caught yourself looking at the sky and feeling an inexplicable nostalgia? A calling that seems to come from the stars, a sensation that part of you belongs to a place beyond this planet. It is not fantasy, it is cellular memory being activated. Many of those who are awakening now carry stellar codes, connections with other dimensions, other consciousnesses, other reality systems. And these ancestral memories are being awakened to serve at this crucial moment of planetary history. The trial by fire you faced was necessary, because only those who have known darkness can truly appreciate and sustain light. Only those who have experienced separation can truly honor union. Only those who have crossed the valley of the shadow of death can guide others through it. Awakened soul, you have been a pioneer. opening paths in unexplored territories of consciousness. And, like every pioneer, you faced solitude, uncertainty, fear of the unknown. But you continued advancing, guided by an internal compass that never fails, your own truth. You who read these words, have you noticed how certain information now arrives to you exactly when you need it? How books practically fall into your hands, people cross your path with specific messages, and situations unfold with a synchronicity that defies the laws of probability. They are not coincidences. It is the intelligent fabric of the universe responding to your elevated frequency. It is the quantum field reorganizing to support your awakening journey. Feel now this rhythmic pulsation at different points in your body. These are not common pulsations. They are activations, energetic portals opening, allowing higher frequencies to flow through your system. Ancient spirit, the increased sensitivity you have experienced to sounds, to lights, to energies of people and places is not a weakness to be overcome. It is a gift to be honored, refined, and used in service of collective awakening. The world needs beings who can feel beyond the surface, who can perceive the energetic currents underlying physical events, who can navigate not just through what is visible, but also through what is perceptible only to the open heart. Child of light, the challenges you faced forged in you a resilience that transcends common understanding. A capacity to remain centered even when everything around you seems to crumble. And this inner stability now serves as an anchor point for many who are still finding their own center. You who were tested by fire, the angels hid the divine plan from you because the merit lies in the crossing made in darkness. Because the spiritual crown is conquered not by those who follow a detailed map, but by those who trust the internal compass of intuition, even when the path seems uncertain. Breathe deeply and allow this truth to settle in every cell of your being. You were not just tested, you were selected, prepared, refined for a purpose that transcends the limitations of common human perception. Chosen one, have you experienced moments of clarity so crystalline that you seem to be seeing beyond the veil of physical reality? Glimpses of a world where everything is connected, where there is no real separation, where love is the only fundamental truth. They were not hallucinations. They were genuine experiences of expanded states of consciousness, windows that opened briefly, allowing you to glimpse the reality that exists beyond the three-dimensional matrix. And if these experiences were brief, it was not because you were not ready for more. It was because your mission still requires that you keep one foot firmly planted on this earthly plane, while your consciousness expands to embrace higher dimensions. Awakened soul, the fatigue that sometimes dominates you is not weakness. It is transformation happening at deep levels. It is your system recalibrating to sustain higher frequencies in the physical vehicle. You who read these words, have you noticed how your perception of time has changed? How some days seem to extend infinitely while entire weeks can pass like the blink of an eye? How you sometimes catch yourself completely absorbed in an activity, losing all notion of hours. It is not distraction. It is direct experience of the malleable nature of time. It is your consciousness beginning to perceive that linear time is just a construction of the three-dimensional mind, not an absolute truth. Feel now this subtle expansion throughout your energetic field, as if your boundaries were dissolving, allowing you to begin perceiving your true connection with everything that exists. Ancient spirit, the vivid dreams you have experienced are not just subconscious processing. They are real travels to other dimensions. They are encounters with expanded aspects of your own being. They are training for the mission you came to fulfill on this plane. The fire through which you passed did not come to destroy you. It came to awaken dormant memories, to activate latent potentials, to burn everything that is not in alignment with your true essence. Child of light, you have been a channel without realizing it. Words of wisdom flow through you in apparently casual conversations. Healing happens simply through your presence. Clarity arises naturally in environments where you are. Because your frequency is not common. It is a frequency that carries codes of awakening, of remembrance, of return to the essential truth that all carry, but that many still cannot access. You who were tested in fire, the angels hid your own greatness from you because it was necessary that you discover it yourself, that you conquer it not as a title granted by external authorities, but as an interior recognition that no one can grant or take away. Breathe deeply and allow this truth to reverberate in every cell of your being. You are much more than you were ever allowed to know. Your capacity to love, to create, to transform, to illuminate goes far beyond the limits that were imposed on you. Chosen one, have you caught yourself speaking words that seem to come from a place deeper than your conscious mind? Sharing insights that surprise even you. It is your intuitive channel opening, allowing universal wisdom to flow through you. And if sometimes you doubt this connection, if you question whether you are not just imagining things, know that this doubt is also part of the process. It is the ego trying to maintain control in the face of consciousness expansion. It is fear of the unknown, trying to pull you back to the familiar territory of limitation. Awakened soul, the intensity of emotions you have experienced, joys that seem infinite interspersed with sadnesses that touch the core of your being, is not imbalance. It is amplification of your capacity to feel. It is expansion of your heart to accommodate not just your own experiences, but also the collective field you are helping to transform. You who read these words, have you noticed how certain patterns begin to repeat in your life? Situations that seem to place you before the same challenges, even if in different clothes. They are not punishments or indications that you are doing something wrong. They are opportunities for deep integration, for complete transformation of patterns that serve not just you, but entire lineages, entire collectives. Feel now this subtle vibration in the palms of your hands, this tingling, this pulsation. Your healing energetic centers are awakening, opening, preparing for the work that only you can perform in the unique way that is yours. Ancient. Spirit, the detachment you have experienced from people, from places, from possessions, from identities, is not loss. It is liberation. It is your soul releasing everything that no longer resonates with your elevated frequency, creating space for new connections, new experiences, new manifestations that are in alignment with who you are becoming. The fire through which you passed was not punishment. It was preparation, it was initiation. It was the awakening of dormant codes in your DNA, activating potentials that were always there, awaiting the right moment to manifest. Child of light, you have been a bridge between worlds, between the visible and invisible, between the known and unknown, between what was and what is emerging, and sustaining this position is not an easy task. It requires constant balance, centrality, connection renewed daily with your deepest truth. You who were tested in the most intense furnaces of existence, the angels hid the divine plan from you because it was necessary that you discover it gradually, through direct experience, not through intellectual concepts or beliefs adopted from others. Because true wisdom does not come from outside. It emerges from within, through the alchemy of experience lived with full consciousness. Breathe deeply and allow this truth to settle in every fiber of your being. You were not just chosen, you chose. Your soul volunteered for this journey of trial and transformation, knowing the challenges, but also the immense potential for growth and service. Chosen one, have you experienced moments when the veil between worlds seems so thin that you can almost see beyond it? Moments when loving presences seem to surround you, even if invisible to physical eyes. They are not imaginations. They are real perceptions of realities that exist beyond the limited spectrum of common human vision. And as your frequency continues to rise, these moments will become more frequent, clearer, more sustained, because you are becoming a being that inhabits multiple dimensions simultaneously without needing to leave the physical body to do so. Awakened soul, the synchronicities in your life, those moments when you think of someone and receive a message from that person seconds later, those times when you need an answer and a book falls open exactly to the page that contains that answer. Do those casual encounters, that change the course of your life, are confirmations of the intelligent fabric of the universe responding to your frequency. You who read these words, have you noticed how your intuition has become more precise, more reliable, more immediate? How you simply know things without knowing how you know? How decisions that once seemed complex now present themselves with crystalline clarity? It is not coincidence. It is your intuitive channel expanding, strengthening, becoming an increasingly clear bridge between your conscious mind and the universal wisdom to which you are connected. Feel now this gentle pressure in the center of your forehead, this rhythmic pulsation. It is not common tension. It is your third eye opening, expanding, preparing to perceive beyond the veil of three-dimensional reality. Ancient spirit, the sensation of not belonging that perhaps has accompanied you since childhood, was not alienation. It was recognition. Your soul always knew it was here on temporary mission, not as a permanent inhabitant. It always knew it carried frequencies different from those predominant on this plane. And if this brought solitude, incomprehension, even rejection, know that these experiences, however painful they may have been, serve to keep alive in you the memory of your origin, the longing for home that is not a place, but a state of consciousness. Child of light, you have been an alchemist, without knowing it, transforming pain into compassion, fear into courage, separation into union, and this capacity for transmutation is one of the clearest marks of your divine origin. You who were tested by fire, the angels hid your own importance from you because the ego would have interfered in the natural process of your soul's maturation. Because knowing your crucial role on this earthly plane before the right time could have created distortions in the authentic expression of your essence. So they allowed you to discover gradually, for you to find your strength in the middle of the storm, for you to recognize your value, not because someone told you, but because you proved to yourself repeatedly that you are capable of rising from the ashes. Breathe deeply and allow this truth to settle in every cell of your body. You are not alone. You never were. Even in moments of deepest solitude, loving presences surrounded you, supported you, sustained you, even if beyond the veil of physical perception. Chosen one, have you felt as if you were living between two worlds? As if part of you still needed to function in the structures of the old reality, while another part already inhabits completely new frequencies? This sensation of being divided is not fragmentation, it is expansion. You are learning to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, to keep your feet on the ground while your consciousness travels through realms that few can access. And this ability to be a bridge between worlds is precisely what the planet most needs now. Beings who can anchor elevated frequencies even while navigating the densities of three-dimensional experience. Awakened soul, the changes in your physical body, energy fluctuations, food sensitivities that did not exist before, altered sleep needs, sensations of heat or cold without apparent cause, are not diseases to be feared. They are symptoms of ascension. They are the physical vehicle adjusting to accommodate more light, more consciousness, more truth. You who read these words, have you noticed how your tolerance for dense environments has decreased drastically? How noisy, crowded, energetically charged places now seem unbearable after a short time? It is not fragility. It is refinement of your energetic sensory system. And this refinement requires new care, new practices, new boundaries, because sustaining elevated frequencies on a planet that still vibrates predominantly at lower densities requires constant maintenance of your own field. Feel now this subtle expansion that begins in the center of your chest and radiates throughout your body. This sensation of amplitude, of interior space, it is not imagination. It is your heart chakra expanding to accommodate more love, more compassion, more truth. Ancient spirit, the journey you walked was not just for your own growth. Each challenge you overcame, each shadow you integrated, each illusion you transcended, opened paths not just for you, but for all those who will come after. Because you have been a pioneer, clearing unexplored territories of consciousness, creating trails in dense forests where there was no passage before. And if this journey was solitary at times, if you felt misunderstood, even isolated, know that it was necessary. Because pioneers always walk ahead, always face the unknown first, so that later others can follow more easily. Child of light, you were not just chosen. You chose. Your soul volunteered for this mission, knowing the challenges but also the immense potential for growth and service. And if sometimes you forgot this pre-incarnational agreement, if there were moments when the density of earthly experience overshadowed the memory of your divine origin, this was also part of the plan, because the veil of forgetting was necessary for the experience to be authentic, for choices to be genuine, for awakening to be truly yours. You who were tested by fire, the angels hid the complete map of the journey from you, because the merit lies in the crossing made in darkness. Because the spiritual crown is conquered, not by those who follow detailed instructions, but by those who trust the internal compass of intuition, even when the path seems uncertain. Breathe deeply and allow this truth to reverberate in every fiber of your being. You are much more than you were ever allowed to know. Your capacity to love, to create, to transform, to illuminate, goes far beyond the limits that were imposed on you. Chosen one, you have been a point of light in a world that often seems consumed by darkness, and maintaining this light burning in dense environments is not an easy task. It requires constancy, commitment, daily renewal of your connection with the source. But you persevered, even when it would have been easier to give up, even when darkness seemed impenetrable, even when voices around you, and sometimes even voices within your own mind, questioned whether there was any purpose in all of this. And it is this perseverance, this fidelity to your deepest truth even in the face of doubt and adversity, that is the clearest mark of the spiritual warrior. Awakened soul, the vivid dreams that wake you in the middle of the night, the visions that appear in states between sleep and wakefulness, the messages that arise during deep meditations are not products of imagination. They are real communications. They are downloads of information that your conscious mind is learning to interpret. And as you continue to elevate your frequency, these communication channels will become increasingly clear, more precise, more reliable. You who read these words, have you noticed how certain people are naturally attracted to you, as if they could feel something in your energetic field that resonates with the awakening that is also happening in them? It is not coincidence, it is vibrational resonance. Like attracts like, and your elevated frequency naturally attracts those who are ready to awaken, who are seeking, often without knowing consciously, exactly the type of energy you carry. Feel now this subtle vibration that seems to permeate your entire body. This is not a common sensation, it is activation. It is your energetic field responding to the truth that these words carry, recognizing the frequency that resonates with your own essence. Ancient Spirit, you are not alone in your mission. There are many like you, scattered across the planet, each operating in their own territory, each expressing unique aspects of the same divine frequency. And even if physically you do not yet know each other, there is a deep connection in the subtle planes, a collaboration that transcends the need for conscious coordination. Because you are all connected to the same source, you are all receiving aspects of the same divine impulse of transformation. You are all contributing, each in your unique way, to the elevation of planetary consciousness. The fire through which you passed was not accidental. It was specifically selected to forge in you the qualities necessary for your unique mission, to awaken potentials that were dormant, to burn everything that is not in alignment with your highest essence. Child of light, you have been a beacon without realizing it, a stable reference in tempestuous seas, a point of light that guides those who still navigate in darkness. And if sometimes the weight of this responsibility seems too great to carry, remember, you are not carrying it alone. There is a greater intelligence operating through you, sustaining each step, guiding each choice, even when this guidance seems subtle or even absent. You who were tested in the most intense furnaces of existence, the angels hid the divine, planned from you because it was necessary that you discover it through direct experience, because true wisdom does not come from information received from outside, but from the internal alchemy of experience lived with full consciousness. Breathe deeply and allow this truth to settle in every cell of your body. You were not chosen by chance. There is a divine purpose in every detail of your journey, even in those moments that seemed meaningless, even in those experiences that seemed like pain without purpose. All apparent chaos had a deep underlying order. All apparent darkness was preparing the way for a light more intense than you could bear without this preparation. Chosen one, have you felt as if you carried memories of places you never visited in this life? Knowledge you never formally studied, skills you never consciously trained. They are not imaginations, they are inheritances from other lives, other journeys, other expressions of your soul. And these ancestral memories are being activated now because they are necessary for the work you came to perform, because they contain codes, tools, understandings that the world needs at this crucial moment of transformation. Awakened soul, the synchronicities in your life have intensified, haven't they? Coincidences that defy the laws of statistical probability. Encounters that seem orchestrated by an invisible intelligence. Messages that arrive through the most unexpected channels, exactly when you need them. It is not your imagination seeking patterns where they do not exist. It is the fabric of reality responding to your elevated frequency. It is the quantum field reorganizing to support your awakening journey. You who read these words, have you noticed how your perception has expanded? How you can now feel energies, intentions underlying truths that once went unnoticed? How you instinctively know when someone is being authentic or when there is incongruence between words and energy? It is not paranoia or hypersensitivity. It is clarity. It is refined discernment. It is your intuitive capacity expanding to capture frequencies that go beyond verbal communication. Feel now this lightness that begins to permeate your energetic field, this sensation of expansion, of interior amplitude. It is not imagination, it is liberation. It is your energetic system releasing densities, resistances, blockages that no longer serve your highest expression. Ancient spirit, the journey you walked was not just for your own growth. Each challenge you overcame, each shadow you integrated, each illusion you transcended, opened paths not just for you, but for the collective field of human consciousness. Because we are all connected at levels that transcend physical perception. We all participate in the same morphogenetic field, and when one awakens, the trail becomes a little clearer for all. That is why your individual journey matters so much. That is why each choice you make for love instead of fear, for truth instead, of denial for light instead of darkness, has impact far beyond your personal experience. Child of light, you were not just chosen, you are a chooser, a being endowed with free will, capable of determining the course of your own evolution. And it is this power of conscious choice that is your most powerful tool in the awakening journey. Because spiritual ascension is not something that happens to you passively. It is something you actively co-create, through your choices moment to moment, thought to thought, action to action. You who were tested by fire, the angels hid your own divinity from you because it was necessary that you discover it yourself, that you conquer it not as a title granted by external authorities, but as an interior recognition that no one can grant or take away. Breathe deeply and allow this truth to reverberate in every fiber of your being. You are a unique expression of divine consciousness, exploring specific aspects of existence that only you can explore in the unique way that is yours. And it is this singularity, this unique expression of your essence, that the world most needs now. Not one more person trying to fit into predefined molds, but authentic beings fully expressing their deepest truths. Chosen one, you have reached the end of this message, but you are only at the beginning of your conscious journey. The veil has been lifted, the truth has been revealed, and now it is up to you to integrate this understanding into every aspect of your life. You were tested by fire, and the angels hid this from you. But now you know. Now you understand that each challenge, each pain, each apparent obstacle was actually a carefully orchestrated step in your process of spiritual refinement. The transformation has already begun. In fact, it began long before you were conscious of it. And now that your eyes are open, now that your heart has recognized this truth, there is no way to return to the sleep of unconsciousness. If these words touched your soul, if you felt chills, warmth, pulsations, expansions while reading, know that these are not common reactions. They are confirmations. They are recognitions of your own divine essence, resonating with the truth that these words carry. Leave in the comments what you felt during this reading. Share the numbers that have appeared repeatedly in your life, 444, 777, 999. Or simply, leave a word of light. I awakened, I am light, I am chosen, I am ready. And if you feel the calling to share this message with someone you intuitively know is also in the process of awakening, do it, because you did not find these words by chance, and those with whom you share will also not receive them by chance. You are one of the chosen, one of those who survived the refining fire and emerged not just intact but magnified, transformed, illuminated from within. And now, the world awaits your unique light, your singular expression of the divine truth you carry, your loving service that only you can offer in the specific way that is yours. The fire tested, the angels witnessed, and now, finally, you know. You are one of the chosen.